Hey, it's Jane. It's day 37 of a 40-day journey in tenderness. The cards I picked today, two cards kept falling out. So it was compassion, which is the same card as yesterday. Release judgments and focus on love and light. And then Kali. Endings and beginnings. The old must be released so that the new can enter. Yeah. So, kind of a lot coming up for me, so I'm hoping to get sorted while I talk about it. First thing that was neat was I was talking to Jaya. She's a spiritual teacher I work with, and when we started the session, she saw an image of a stork with the storks that hold the babies, and I was meaning to look up what stork meant, actually, because it's come to me as a medicine animal before, like in the past. I don't remember what it means, but I'm sure there's some significance there as well. But anyway, when I pictured the baby, like the cartoon baby being held by the stork, I imagine it, the way it's like swaddled in clothing, and it's like a cocoon. And it was like, even when you're in the cocoon, and before your wings have spread, you're already flying. It's like you're being carried effortlessly. So it might feel like you're in this stage where you're not moving or stuck, but you're being carried. And in fact, it seems almost like you're being carried further and more effortlessly than once you grow wings. So yeah, it's interesting. And then I was talking about that thing I noticed where if I'm making art, I'm okay, but when I start sharing it, then I feel like I get hungry for some kind of feedback or validation. I'm kind of like, what do I do with that? And then I notice these patterns where, like, because I'm cleansing, it's very noticeable when I'm like want to eat, because it's not coming from hunger. So I could tell I was like trying to avoid something, and I think it is trying to avoid these feelings of wanting, of other kind of hunger. And even though I've been speaking to it, it's still there. So, and I was like, okay, well, this is like more motivation to like start a class or create spaces for people to reflect. But I'm still like, well, in the meantime, like, what do I do with this? It seemed like it was pointing to going back and looking at where it originates, because it's that old story of I'm not seen. So I was going to, and I've done all kinds of work with like the inner child, like write letters from God and take her on dates and stuff like that. But I thought it was time to go a bit deeper, so I was going to do a process where you kind of like review your life and the times where you felt hurt or unseen or whatever it is, and then kind of change the script. Since, the past doesn't really exist, right? So it's all in the mind, so let's just like change the story. And I've never been able to do this exercise well because I don't have like particular events that many that like stick out in my mind. It's just like a general thing. Like there's so many, But so I just thought, okay, let's just see what comes up, energetically. I don't have to like go through memories specifically. So I went back to when I was born, and And I thought, what would I have wanted people to acknowledge, you know, that they didn't get? And it was grief. That I came in with like a lot of grief, because at the soul level I had that twin, and she didn't come out with me. I knew I had those older, my mom, she had an abortion before my brother, and no one knew about it except me because I saw it psychically, and then I asked her about it, you know, and then she actually said she almost forgot. And she like checked in with my father, because I don't know how that happens, but yeah, we have very different personalities. So I think actually she probably carries that in her, you know, this whole denial, and that's part of some of the stuff that comes up with her now with her health, because there's emotions that are like stuck that are not being released because she's not consciously wanting to look at them. So anyway, yeah, because my father says sometimes he wonders, like, oh yeah, it would have been like if we had like another, you know. So anyway, I saw them psychically, and it would have been, they're boys, again, twins. I know that might sound odd, like, you know, how can there be so many twins? But apparently, like, statistically, like over 80% of fetuses begin as twins. So it's actually not uncommon at a soul level. Maybe they just don't all incarnate. So anyway, yeah, so I knew when I first learned about that a few years ago, I felt like I didn't feel that much about the brothers. I felt a lot about my twin, but like it brought together a lot for me, and I felt a lot of grief and sadness over that. But the brothers, I was like, oh, okay, it would have been like more brothers, you know. But this year, or these past couple months, they've been coming up, and it's like, it actually would have been a big role, because these brothers, their role in my family for me would have been to be kind of like more like more a parental role. So, because my brother who's here, my brother is awesome, but he was not meant to play the role of like the older brother as much as these brothers were. So these ones would have kind of, you know, I think treated me like the little girl, like taking care of me and giving me attention and stuff in a way that would have been different and would have made this passage easier. And then obviously my twin would have made things different. So, and just, you know, in life, like in all families, usually there's like one or two or there's some people that their role is to like kind of feel the feelings or carry on the stuff, to express and bring out the stuff that other people are not ready to, or just that's not their role in this lifetime. And so for me, that was mine, you know. So I was the one who kind of had was carrying this, and so I came in like, yeah, just like crying and having fits, and of course it was just not recognized for what it was. It was just seen as, you know, like difficulty or sensitivity, and it was grief. It was grief, and so I just imagined like my whole family, if they like all of us just like hugging and just taking time to have like really cried and acknowledged what was missing. And yeah, because you know how it is, like once something is expressed, it's kind of done, you know, like you'll still know it and remember it and feel it, but it's kind of done. But if it's not, it just stays, and it comes out in all these ways. And so yeah, so pretty much for the rest of my childhood, I was just like, yeah, it just went unacknowledged. And so then it became a problem, like what's wrong with this girl's temperament? And then it just gets kind of like more and more distorted. So then it was weird, because then I jumped from, you know, I was trying to go through, okay, like it would have been nice if like my parents had said this or that, but I didn't really feel any emotional thing with it. It's like, I don't know, feel like kind of, yeah, it would have been nice to have had parents who were like, I don't know, good job. Like, let's talk about school and how'd you feel today? I mean, I guess, but I was trying to kind of like bring up stuff like that, and it didn't do anything. So I went into kind of a deeper state, a meditative state where I wasn't thinking. And then what came to me was like, what's like being next to a fire, like, and